At my funeral, I noticed my boyfriend of 2 years and my bestie laughing wildly. In the corner, Andy, my mortal enemy who had been against me since childhood, was crying and holding his head in his hands. I sat up in shock from my dying illness, realizing that all these years had been lived in vain. Suddenly, a line of glowing words appeared in front of me. Dear, watch the ad to be resurrected. The story is about to begin. If you like it, remember to like and follow. After watching the 25-second melatonin advertisement, I felt like I was reborn back in high school. The moment I regained my sight, I saw Andy lying next to me and smiling at me, and tears immediately streamed down my face. Andy regained his previous rebellious look in a second, turned around and saw me crying, and panicked again. No, Auntie, I didn't bully you. Why are you crying? I don't want to cry either, it's just that the scenes of my previous life are too glaring. I wiped my tears, looked at Andy who was looking for toilet paper for me, and rushed over to him. He was hugged by me, his hands frozen mid-air, and his ears turned red. Linda, what are you doing? After a while, he realized that I was a little abnormal and was about to push me away. I held his hand tighter and said, can you please stop moving and let me hold you for a while? After saying that, Andy really didn't move until I let go of the hand that was holding him. After letting him go, I winked at him, and he reacted, turned and ran away. I looked at his back, feeling mixed emotions. Andy and I were engaged to each other since we were young, but I didn't like him because ever since I can remember, my unreliable stepmother told me that my father arranged the engagement between him and Andy just for profit. I didn't believe it at first until I actually saw Andy's family assets. In addition, my stepmother kept repeating in my ear that if I married Andy I would lose my freedom, so I began to hate Andy and would speak ill of him whenever I saw him. At first Andy would patiently explain to me, but I just wouldn't listen. Later, I went to junior high school and was in the same class as Andy. He also became rebellious. When I scolded him, he would also retort without any hesitation. It was also from that time that Andy and I became people who couldn't stand each other. In high school, I made a very good friend named Kelly, but Andy wouldn't let me play with her, saying that she was not a good person. I still remember that day. I fiercely shook off Andy's hand and told him, I like everything you don't like. Since then, Andy never came to see me again, and I fell in love for the first time in my life through my so-called good friend. After the college entrance examination, I learned that Andy went to school in City A, so I applied to a school in City B. The two cities were more than 2,000 kilometers apart, and I never saw the boy who made me unhappy every day again. In my sophomore year, I finally broke off my engagement with Andy as I wished, and I died that afternoon in a car accident. I found out only after my death that my so-called best friend Kelly was actually my stepmother's biological daughter, and my beloved boyfriend Franklin was an actor she hired at great expense. My life is like a joke, and the only salvation in this joke was pushed away by my own hands. Linda, do you want to go to the cafe after school? I'll introduce you to a friend. My thoughts were interrupted when Kelly appeared in front of me. I frowned and glanced down at my phone. October 24, 2015. Today is the day I met Franklin. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Kelly took my hand and said, Linda, come with me. A super handsome guy will come this afternoon. You will be disappointed if you don't come. I resisted the urge to roll my eyes and blinked innocently. How handsome is he? Is he more handsome than Andy? If he's not as handsome as him, I won't go. Kelly wanted to respond, but when she heard Andy's name, she froze. After a long while, she asked, Linda, you don't like Andy, why are you mentioning him? I flipped through the textbook in front of me and leaned on the bench. Who said I don't like Andy? As soon as the voice fell, Kelly seemed to panic and hurriedly said bad things about Andy to me. Linda, how can a person like him deserve your love? He bullies you every day. I can't stand it. Are you confused because of the fever? Kelly reached out her hand and touched my forehead. I opened her hand in disgust. Who has a fever? You have a fever. How can Andy not be worthy of my love? I tell you, Linda, love Andy the most in my life. I will not marry him. After that, the sound of glass breaking was heard at the door. I looked over and saw Andy, who had just returned from fetching water. Suddenly, my face turned red all the way behind my ears. Shame surged in my heart, and I subconsciously jumped under the desk, praying in my heart, he didn't hear it, he didn't hear it, he didn't hear it. Under the desk, I watched a pair of Nike shoes stride towards me. Andy's somewhat amused voice came from above my head. Linda, what are you doing? I bit my lip and patted my face lightly, then pretended nothing happened and responded, nothing. My pen fell, I'm picking it up, haha. As soon as he finished speaking, another head appeared under the desk. The moment my eyes met his, the blush on my face that had just disappeared reappeared. Andy smiled gently. Did you pick up the pen? I felt like crying but had no tears, so I ran away. For the rest of the afternoon, I subconsciously avoided Andy. After school, I ran out of the classroom like a mouse with my school bag. At night, I hid in my bed, and my heart started pounding when I thought of Andy. It was a feeling I had never had when I was with Franklin before. I touched my chest and murmured to myself, this should be love. The next morning, I was walking towards the classroom with soy milk in my hand, wondering whether I should avoid Andy today. As a result, I bumped into someone without paying attention. The soy milk spilled all over me and the other person also had soy milk on him. I apologized subconsciously, and the other party seemed to have expected it, and took out a pack of toilet paper from his pocket. Classmate, I should say sorry, you wipe it first. A familiar voice sounded, and I looked up, meeting Franklin's eyes. How come I met him again? At this moment, Kelly jumped out from somewhere, and I understood everything in an instant. We are acting here. Hey, Franklin, why are you here? Wait, Linda, what happened to you? I frowned, not wanting to watch Kelly's hypocritical acting, and turned to leave, but a figure stood in front of me before me. Why are you so careless? I looked up and met Andy's beautiful eyes. Kelly's eyes lit up when she saw Andy, and she quickly said with a smile, it's okay, just let Franklin take Linda to deal with it, and we can go back to class first. I rolled my eyes. He was trying really hard to give me some space to be alone. How could I be fooled again this time? No need. No need. Before I could finish, Andy had already rejected her, took my hand and took me away. Andy walked very fast and I could only jog to keep up with him. When I turned around again, I saw Kelly staring at me fiercely. When she saw me looking at her, she immediately put on a smiling face again. It's disgusting. Andy took me all the way downstairs. I shook off his hand and squatted on the ground, panting. Why don't you play with your bestie? Andy stood next to me, arms folded. I waved my hand and stood up from the ground. Good girlfriend, who said she is my good girlfriend? Andy looked at me with amusement and said, who said a few days ago that Kelly is my best friend in Linda's life and no one can separate us. He repeated what I had said in the same tone as I had spoken before. I am so petty that I still remember such a thing. But when I think about it, I have indeed done such a thing. I also said that I would never like you in my life. I muttered quietly, and he suddenly leaned closer. What did you say? I bit my lip and stomped on his foot hard. No more. After saying that, I turned and left. I went to the toilet to wipe the soy milk off my body, then got up and prepared to go back to the classroom for class. As soon as I walked out of the bathroom, I saw Franklin's familiar figure again. When he saw me, he immediately walked up to me. He had changed his clothes and then took out a pack of toilet paper from his pocket again. Before I could say anything, he took out a piece of paper and reached out to help me wipe the wet parts of my body. I'm sorry, classmate. I was too careless. I didn't have time to apologize to you properly just now. Let me help you clean it up. I jumped up and put some distance between me and him. His hand froze in place, and he awkwardly pushed his glasses up on his nose. This action instantly awakened my previous memories. In the past, when Franklin was angry, he would subconsciously push up his glasses. I didn't understand at first, but later when I found out, whenever his hand touched his glasses, I would lean towards him like a pug and apologize continuously. It's strange that I didn't like him at that time, but I still tried to please him unconsciously. But just now, I figured it out. I was brainwashed by him. No, it was my fault. I still have to go to class. I'm leaving now. I suddenly realized what was happening and hated Franklin even more. I ran away in one go. Franklin wanted to reach out to stop me, but I was already gone. When I returned to the classroom, the bell rang. This class was math. I noticed that there was a new person sitting next to me. It was Kelly. She saw me, smiled and pulled me to my seat. I sat down in my seat, and Kelly came over immediately. Linda, I'll take this class with you, hee. I frowned. Who wants to go with you? Why don't you go back? I can't concentrate on the class if you're here. She didn't seem to hear the impatience in my tone and actually hugged my arm and rubbed it. Hey, it's just a lesson, Linda can learn it even if she doesn't listen. I was sweating profusely. If this was my previous life, I would have been blown away by her words. I opened my mouth, but the teacher had already stepped into the classroom. It's too late. I held my forehead and stopped talking. This is a math class. High school math is extremely difficult. If you miss a class, you may need to make up for it for half a day after class. I picked up the textbook and listened to the teacher attentively. Kelly became unhappy and started to find topics to talk about with me. Linda, you scared me to death this morning. Fortunately, you didn't get burned, otherwise I would be heartbroken. I was silent. Hey, did you see the boy you bumped into today? Isn't he super handsome? He's the boy I wanted to take you to meet yesterday. I took a deep breath and smiled my Nike smile. So handsome, if you like him, do you want me to help you chase him? Her smile stayed on her face. She hesitated for a moment, then ignored my question and continued, his name is Franklin, and he's a transfer student from class 8. The last time I talked to him, when we talked about you. Teacher, I'm sorry, I didn't understand this question. Can you explain it again? I raised my hand and pointed to the example questions in the textbook. The teacher was an old man. Perhaps it was the first time that someone asked a question in class. He smiled with satisfaction. Okay, this. Linda, I want to praise you. Your learning spirit is worthy of praise. As for this learning spirit, we have to start from 100 years ago. I stared at the teacher in amazement, from math to history, but I still didn't get the question I wanted to hear until the end of the get out of class. After class, I watched the teacher fly away like the wind. Kelly immediately interrupted when she saw this. Linda, you don't know how to do it? I'll let Franklin teach you. Franklin's math is. Kelly was halfway through her words when a math textbook appeared in front of me. It was Andy. He yawned and sat in front of me. Which question? I didn't react. Huh? Which question did you not understand just now? I understood what he meant and turned to the example question. His beautiful fingers fell on the textbook, and he picked up a blank piece of paper beside him and started solving the problem quickly. Kelly was stunned and moved over as well. Andy finished writing the questions and moved the paper in front of me. All the solutions to the problem were clearly written on the white paper. I could understand the solution to the problem without him even explaining it. He stretched and patted my head. Wait for me to go home after school tonight. I nodded. He stood up to leave, and Kelly stood up from his chair. Andy, I also don't understand a question. Can you teach me? Ms. Chen's office is downstairs. Andy rejected her without looking back. Kelly seemed frozen, and I was behind her, my heart pounding. How on earth did I manage to hate Andy so much in my previous life? After school, I had just packed my things and Andy was already waiting for me at the door. I walked towards him with a smile, and Kelly jumped out again. Linda, my stomach hurts so much. I feel so uncomfortable. I ignored her and continued walking towards Andy. Kelly grabbed my hand and said, Linda, I'm really upset. I am speechless. Do you think others are fools if they don't get angry? If you feel uncomfortable, go see a doctor. Why are you dragging me down? Am I a doctor? Kelly let go of my hand, and then she started crying. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, and Andy walked over to me. I'll take you there. I didn't understand. Kelly looked up and said, you are not feeling well. I will take you to the hospital. Andy repeated it again, and Kelly responded with a sweet okay. Then she walked around me and left with Andy. I stood there in a daze. 2 seconds later, something in my heart seemed to twitch, and I felt a little uncomfortable. After taking a few deep breaths, I watched the people in the classroom gradually disperse, and then I followed the crowd away. On the way home, I saw stones at my feet and couldn't help kicking them a few times. As a result, I sprained my ankle because of the force I kicked. My tense emotions suddenly exploded at this moment, and I sat down on the ground. What? Why am I so unlucky? It's all Andy's fault. Didn't we say we were going together? You liar, I will never let you love me in this life. Love but can't get it? I was startled, and when I looked up and saw Andy, I got even angrier. I didn't care about the pain in my feet and I got up and left. Andy followed me and I rolled my eyes at him. Stay away from me. He raised an eyebrow, looked at my limping figure, and stopped. I just said, good guy, no explanation needed, okay? I continued walking quickly forward, and perhaps because I was multitasking, I didn't see the sign prohibiting passage. Below was a sewer covered with an iron sheet. By the time I reacted, the person had already been fished out by Andy. "Are you trying to kill yourself? Can't you see the big sign in front of you?" I reacted belatedly and my eyes turned red. "Don't bother me. I won't talk to liars. Even if I die today and jump off here, I won't pay any attention to you." Andy was amused by me, but I was mad as hell. Seeing that he had no intention of explaining, I turned and left. After taking 2 steps, the man was pulled back. Yes, I am a liar. After hearing what he said, my anger subsided a little, but I still didn't intend to pay attention to him and just walked forward on my own. But because of my sprained ankle, I had to be very careful with every step. Andy suddenly walked quickly in front of me and squatted down in front of me. "Come on up, I'll carry you." I was secretly delighted, but the anger I had just felt was still there. I coughed twice and said sarcastically, "Is this back only for me, or can others carry it too?" Andy chuckled, "Come on up, I'll just carry you." After getting a satisfactory answer, I jumped on it. He walked slowly with me on his back, and I put my mouth close to his ear. "Don't you want to explain?" He said calmly, "Is it necessary for someone who doesn't matter?" I sneered and tightened my grip around his neck. "She didn't have to, but you stood me up today." Andy stopped and looked back at me. The moment our eyes met, my face turned red again. I thought Andy would tell me righteously that nothing happened between them, but he actually asked me, "Linda, have you been possessed by another spirit?" The air suddenly became quiet, and the corners of my mouth almost fell to the ground. "Okay, no more jokes." I dropped her off at the entrance of the mental hospital, and then I came back. Puff, I burst out laughing, and Andy laughed too. He kept walking forward with me on his back, and in a trance, I seemed to see our future. He walked very slowly, and it took him 20 minutes to walk a 5-minute distance. When I arrived at the door of my house, I saw a familiar figure. "Linda, why are you so late today?" "Hey, Andy is here too." It was my stepmother, Brittany. The moment she saw me get off Andy's back, the smile on her face disappeared. I nodded politely to her and was about to go home when Andy grabbed my hand and said, "I'll pick you up at 9 tomorrow morning." I'm a little confused. "Isn't tomorrow Saturday?" He added, "Give you a lesson." I agreed with a smile and watched him leave before going into the house. After changing into slippers, Brittany came up to me without anyone noticing, and her attentive smile made me feel uncomfortable. "Linda, why did you come back with Andy today? Didn't Mom tell you to stay away from him? It's always good. Have you forgotten what I told you before?" I continued to do my own thing and responded perfunctorily, "It's been too long, I can't remember clearly." She didn't give up and came closer again. "Linda, do you want to live under surveillance for the rest of your life?" I nodded. "Well, is there anything else? If not, I'll go upstairs first." After saying that, I walked straight to my room. After doing my homework for a while, I felt thirsty, so I went downstairs to get a glass of water. When I passed Brittany's room, I heard some noise inside and curiosity drove me to move closer. "Mom, I have to be with Andy. I can't let that bitch Linda take him away from him." It's Kelly's voice. "Mom knows. I don't know what happened to this little bitch today. She suddenly got close to Andy. But it doesn't matter. You can make arrangements. I will ask Steven to cancel the engagement between Linda and Andy. Then she won't be able to marry him even if she wants to." I looked at the boiling water in my hands and smiled. Why does she think that my dad's elbows would bend outwards? My dad married Brittany just to find a companion for me. I know better than anyone that not only does my dad not love Brittany, but after all these years of living with her, he already knows what kind of person Brittany is. The stupid ones are Brittany's family. They don't really think that we rich people are all brainless idiots. Except for me in my previous life. I took the water and returned to my room quietly. The next morning, I got up at 8 o'clock to pack up. At 9 o'clock, I went out on time, but I didn't see Andy, but I saw Kelly and Franklin. I slammed the door shut and there was a knock on the door. "Linda, we specially asked you to go to the library with us. Franklin is very good at math and can help you." I responded impatiently, "No." After a while, I heard the sound of a motorcycle stopping outside the door. I opened the curtains and saw Andy. I ran as fast as I could, ignoring Kelly and Franklin who were standing nearby. 10 minutes later, I appeared at the library gate. But I didn't bring any books. I looked at the backpack behind Andy, and then looked at myself. The clown was actually me. Where's the book? I wanted to cry but I couldn't. I forgot to bring it. I can't say. I thought you said going to the library yesterday was just an excuse, but you actually wanted to go on a date with me. Andy looked at my face carefully, and finally reached out and gently stroked his fingers across my cheek. Well, the foundation was applied a little thick. I'll be more careful next time. In the library, Andy sat next to me, took out a math book and started explaining the problems. I listened sleepily for the whole morning until I saw the hands of the library clock point to 12. I picked up my coat and prepared to run away. Andy tried to pull me, but I dodged him. Andy, I want to eat. I'm really hungry. Please let me go. After I took a taxi back home, I could smell the aroma of ribs from outside the door. If nothing unexpected happens, I can see my busy dad today. When I opened the door, I saw my dad sitting on the sofa. In the kitchen, Brittany was busy. TSK, she's only good at cooking. I dropped my coat and flew into my father's arms. Come to think of it, ever since I got together with Franklin, my father was completely disappointed in me, so he never saw him again until I died. Dad, I miss you so much. I nuzzled into my dad's arms. He was a little dazed, then patted my head and asked, "What do you want to buy now?" When I heard that, I pouted and said, "Can't I act like a spoiled child with you if I don't buy anything for you, your daughter?" As soon as she finished speaking, Brittany brought out the last dish from the kitchen. "It's time to eat. Come on, Linda. Today we have your favorite spare ribs." I pulled my dad, got up and walked to the dining table. While eating, I kept picking up food for Stephen, and Brittany beside him had no place to put her food. In my previous life, not only did I not listen to Stephen, I also went against him in every way, causing even my own father to be disappointed in me. This time, pleasing one's own father is the second step in the counterattack. "Oh, Linda, you've grown up and now you know how to respect your dad." Brittany spoke at an inopportune moment. I ignored her, and my dad smiled politely. Brittany felt extremely awkward during the meal. She couldn't get a word in or pick up any food. After dinner, I climbed upstairs, but suddenly remembered that my cell phone was still on the sofa, so I turned back. My dad and Brittany were still having dinner. When they were about to go downstairs, I heard Brittany's voice, "Stephen, I think Linda is not quite right today. She must want to ask you something." I stopped and sat down on the stairs. I wanted to see what Brittany was going to do. My dad is still eating," Brittany continued. "Stephen, I won't hide it from you anymore. Linda told me yesterday that she really doesn't want to marry Andy. She didn't dare to tell you, so she asked me to tell you." When my father heard this, he frowned but still didn't say anything. At that time, my dad also knew that I hated Andy, but he always felt that as long as we didn't cancel the engagement, we would still be back to normal. He has always been a soft-hearted person, and perhaps he guessed that I was acting coquettishly with him today because I wanted to talk about this matter, so he did not refute it. Brittany put down her chopsticks and continued to exaggerate. "Hey, Stephen, even though Andy is very good, there's nothing we can do if Linda doesn't like him." "Who told you I don't like it anymore?" I couldn't stand it anymore, so I got up and walked out. She and Kelly are truly mother and daughter, they speak the same language. Brittany saw me and her face turned pale. "Linda, why did you come down here?" I sneered and sat next to my dad. "It's my own home. I can go up when I want to, and I can go down when I want to. Is it your turn to control me?" Brittany's face became even uglier. After all, I had never been so rude to her before. Before this, my relationship with her was still acceptable. "Linda. Besides, I never told you that I didn't want to marry Andy." She called my name and I interrupted her and continued. When my father heard this, he immediately smiled and held my hand. "Linda, do you really think so? Dad thought you really didn't like the kid from the Andy family." I held my father's hand and said, "Dad, I misunderstood you before. I thought you arranged this marriage for me for your own sake. So many people wanted to marry into the Andy family, but I was so ungrateful. I deserve to die." After saying that, my dad and I hugged each other and cried. Seeing this, Brittany immediately found an excuse to slip away. But how could I let her go like this? "Aunt Brittany, you heard what I said, don't make decisions for me anymore, or you don't know what I'll say." Brittany stopped, looked at me, nodded, and ran away. After finishing everything, I got my phone and went back to my room contentedly to take a nap. When I woke up again, it was already 6 o'clock in the afternoon. I went downstairs to get some water due to thirst, and found a glass of water already poured on the coffee table. Maybe I learned my lesson and ignored the glass of water. Instead, I got another one from the water dispenser. I had just taken a sip of the water when my cell phone rang. I took 2 more sips and prepared to answer the call. As a result, after just 2 steps, my vision became a little blurry. I forced myself to walk to the coffee table. My vision became more and more blurry. I picked up the phone and the caller ID showed Andy. Before I answered the call, I had lost consciousness. In the last moment before I lost consciousness, I panicked. I won't die again. Can melatonin be revived this time? The moment I regained consciousness, I subconsciously touched my body. Fortunately, it's still a physical entity. But when I looked again, the decoration style here was very hotel-like. I looked at the white bed sheet on myself and realized that I had taken off all my clothes, leaving only 2 pieces of cloth to cover my body. I opened my eyes wide and found a man lying next to me. When I saw his face clearly, I was almost scared to death. Franklin. I pulled the quilt over, wrapped myself in it and ran to the corner. Franklin stood up when he heard the noise, and when he saw me in the corner, he smiled. I'm sorry, life is stressful, I have to put up with you first. I screamed that this was not good. Franklin was here, which proved that Kelly and her daughter were definitely involved in this matter. I have already seen how cruel they were in their previous life. Maybe because my dad and I didn't fall out, and my relationship with Andy has improved, I may have watched the commercial again now. You're playing dirty, aren't you? What do you want? If you want money, I have it too. I have much more money than Kelly. If you let me go, I'll give you double the money. Franklin's eyes lit up, and then he sighed, although this is the case, it's too late. I will not do anything to betray my employer. I gritted my teeth and my hands trembled unconsciously. What the hell is this? A person who is obsessed with money is trying to be loyal. Are you worthy of this? If I'm not mistaken, Kelly wants to destroy me. The next second, there was a loud bang at the door. I'm completely panicking and already imagining tomorrow's headlines. Franklin stood up and said to me as he walked away, "Excuse me, Miss Linda, I also." Bang, the door opened and Franklin was knocked to the ground by a punch. I looked up and it was Andy. There were beads of sweat on his forehead and his eyes were bloodshot, as if he had just cried. When I saw him, my eyes suddenly became red, even though I thought it was nothing. He walked towards me quickly and held me in his arms. "Linda, I'm sorry, I'm late." Andy took me home like a princess. After Franklin was arrested by the police, he immediately revealed his true colors and confessed everything. When my father learned about this, he canceled his flight ticket to Country M. When I saw my dad, I was lying next to Andy eating cake. When my dad saw me like this, he patted Andy's shoulder and then collapsed with a sense of relief. "Thank you, Andy. Without you, I don't know what Linda would be like today." As soon as my dad finished speaking, the door opened again. "Is my daughter-in-law okay?" Before I saw the person, I could already hear the voice. It was Andy's mother. The moment I saw his mother, I was still amazed. Including before that, I haven't seen his mother for almost 5 or 6 years. I have to say, Andy's mother is really beautiful, and she becomes more beautiful the more you look at her. I had no power over a pretty sister, so I put down the cake in my hand and smiled and said, "Andy Mom, I'm fine, you see I'm still alive and kicking." Afraid that she wouldn't believe me, I jumped off the sofa twice. Seeing this, Andy's mother patted her chest, then pulled me to her and hugged me tightly. "Oh my little baby, I'm glad you're okay. You almost scared me to death." After a long chat, my father's face became serious after he received a phone call. Brittany just booked a flight to Country F. After saying that, Andy sat up from the sofa, and my dad didn't hesitate, picked up the car keys and prepared to leave. I followed behind happily. Andy glanced at me and said, "Go back. Little girls shouldn't get involved in this kind of thing." I shook my head and insisted on following. Besides, I am no longer a little girl. Having experienced death once, I am mentally like an 80-year-old woman. I've even seen my own tragic death, so how could I be afraid of them arresting Brittany? No, Brittany has hurt me so badly. I will be miserable if I don't see her arrested with my own eyes. I hugged Andy's arm and acted coquettishly, and he had no choice but to nod and agree. The airport was a long way away, and my dad was driving so fast that I felt a little dizzy sitting in the back seat. Andy saw that I was uncomfortable and pushed my head onto his shoulder. "It will be better if you close your eyes." 20 minutes later, I arrived at the airport. The police cars arrived at the scene almost at the same time. After getting off the car, my dad greeted the police. When he turned around and saw me being supported by Andy, his eyes lit up. "Well, Andy, take care of Linda. I'll go find someone first." Andy nodded and slowly dragged me forward while I was retching. There were a lot of people in the airport, and because I was carsick, I could only sit at the door and wait with Andy. Andy held the water in one hand and supported me with the other, and sighed, "I just told you not to come, but you insisted on coming. Look, you are carsick." I hummed hypocritically, "Wow, I feel dizzy." He gave me a helpless look and then started to rub my temples. I closed my eyes and was not aware of the vicious gaze behind me. "Linda." Behind me. I heard my father's heart-wrenching scream, and when I opened my eyes, I found that Kelly was rushing towards me with a knife in her hand. I quickly pushed Andy away. To be honest, after being hit by a car in my previous life, I became immune to any tool that could cause me harm. I pushed Andy away, and the moment Kelly approached me, I nimbly dodged. She was still swearing, "Linda, you took away everything from me, including my mom. How can you still be alive? Why?" She shouted from behind and I ran in front. Brittany was brought in by the police. She cried and called Kelly, "Kelly, please stop it. Mom was wrong. Don't do anything stupid." Kelly continued to chase me without giving up. Policemen from all directions raised their guns, and I successfully ran to the safe zone. Kelly looked at the scene in front of her, stopped as if waking up from a dream, and then knelt on the ground. The knife in her hand slipped and she looked forward with lifeless eyes. The police immediately arrested her and handcuffed her. I took 2 deep breaths belatedly. Andy walked in front of me. I couldn't stand anymore and collapsed in his arms. Looking at Kelly's back as she was taken away, I sighed. He is indeed a poor man. His mother abandoned him and he cooked for other people's families for more than 10 years, but in the end he still did not have a good ending. I shook my head and sighed. When did I become such a saint? That mother and daughter almost took your life twice. I slapped myself in the face. Andy was stunned and quickly protected my face. "What are you doing? Don't do anything stupid." After Kelly and Brittany were arrested, I never heard from them again and focused on preparing for the college entrance examination. After the college entrance examination, my results were unexpectedly good, more than 50 points higher than in my previous life. I called Andy with great excitement, but all I heard was his sighs and complaints. I was shocked, thinking that I would not perform poorly in the exam. All fly I seemed to have made up my mind, but Andy laughed. "Poor performance? I didn't say that." Only then did I realize that I had been cheated and I hung up the phone in frustration. When my dad learned about my results, he was so excited that he didn't sleep all night. The next morning, he pulled me into his study and said to me mysteriously, "Linda, you did so well in the exam this time. Dad thinks your talent shouldn't be left in China." I was shocked, thinking that they were going to ask me to go abroad. "So Dad decided to let you go abroad. I've already found a school for you. It's the best one in Country M." My dad was still chattering away, but I was stunned. I wondered if I would have to separate from Andy this time too. If I went abroad, the distance between us wouldn't just be 2,000 kilometers. "Dad, what about Andy?" I asked, and my dad didn't hesitate. "Andy will definitely come with you." After he finished speaking, I couldn't hear what my father said anymore. Going to college with Andy, this sentence kept repeating in my mind. 2 months later, Andy and I said goodbye to our families at the airport. At the airport, I suddenly remembered Kelly and her group, so I casually asked my dad, "How are Kelly and the others?" My dad waved his hand and said, "She's already been working on the sewing machine." He said this lightly, as if Kelly was just an insignificant person. Andy heard the sound and held my hand tightly. The moment the plane took off, Andy whispered in my ear, "Ms. Linda, do you want to have a campus romance with me?" I looked at the plane gradually moving away from the ground and nodded heavily.